Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
Hey everybody, it's Zach, aka Zach's Reviews, and we are back again with another video. Sorry again for the way my hair is. I just got up and me and my sister just got done watching the first 2 episodes of WandaVision, but literally, my mind is blown. It just, the way the show is, how they were able to achieve, like, the way old shows looked and the way they felt with, you know, the audience being there with the laugh track and stuff like that is just, it's just incredible how they were able to achieve that. And just the jokes were funny and just everything worked out very well. It was Bewitched, it was I Love Lucy, it was Dick Van Dyke all in one. Like, me and my sister were talking about it. It was like the living room of Dick Van Dyke and the kitchen of I Love Lucy and just the tone of Bewitched. And I love how they were able to achieve all 3 of those things in this, like, cool series. And the first 2 episodes were literally mind-blowing. We get the first episode of, it starts off where they're in the kitchen, and they're, like, Vision's getting ready for work, and Wanda's just, you know, saying, oh, do you want, like, eggs, bacon, and, you know, a whole bunch of breakfast things. And then he's like, oh, I would, but, you know, as you know, I can't eat. And she's like, oh, that explains why we have nothing in the fridge. And it was just so funny because there was a heart on the calendar, which, if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen my clips that I've watched already, they're up on the channel. It's the same clip I watched where there's a heart on the calendar and they don't know what that means. And they're thinking, oh, like, did you put that there? Did I put that there? And, like, what does it mean? Does it mean it's our, like, is it the anniversary? Or was it a day that, I don't know, like, they didn't know what it was. And in my head, I was like, oh, that's probably their anniversary. So, you know, they're trying to figure that out, and, you know, he goes to work, and he finds out that it is his boss's last name, and his wife's, I guess they're called the Hearts or whatever. So he's like, oh my god, I have a dinner with my boss. So he calls Wanda, and Wanda thinks that, you know, because her next door neighbor came over, that it could be an anniversary. And so they're talking on the phone, and he's like, oh my god, like, I need to impress impress the wife or whatever. And she's like, yeah, and I need to impress the husband. And he thinks that, oh, she knows that it's about him needing to impress his boss to get his promotion at work, but she thinks it's their anniversary. So, you know, they think they're on the same page. He comes home, and, you know, the lights are turned off, there's candles everywhere, and he comes in with the boss and the boss's wife, and he goes into the kitchen looking for Wanda, and Wanda comes out wearing this, she's wearing, like, a nightgown, getting ready for, like, an anniversary thing, and puts her hands around over the boss's eyes, saying, oh, guess who? And he's like, oh my god, Wanda, like, no. And they're trying to, like, play it off, like, oh, like, it's some Sokovian greeting and stuff like that. So I thought that was funny, how, like, they were really trying to be like, okay, well, let's fix this. It felt like it would be like a sort of like an I Love Lucy thing, how, like, oh, they're jumping around trying to fix dinner, get everything ready, and it just, things aren't going the right way. And you could slowly start to see that things are not right. The way the neighbors are talking, the way that just the neighborhood is, and the way that things are breaking down. And, you know, it looks like she might be either in a simulation and someone's doing this to her, or like, maybe she is doing this and yet she doesn't know she's doing this to them. I don't know, but there's a lot of mystery here around this. And, you know, and she's getting ready for, you know, dinner, and things are just not going wrong. She's juggling everything. But then there's one, and, you know, Vision's trying to, you know, is in the other room trying to distract them, playing music and, like, talking to the boss about work, so Wanda can get dinner ready and get things fixed. And, you know, there's a scene where, you know, he's like, the boss is, like, very, like, not believing in the Vision's distractions, saying, oh, you're very dense, so you're not very smart in the head, and just seeing through Vision's lies about, you know, what Wanda's doing in the kitchen. But Vision's distracting the wife very well, his wife very well, but, like, the boss isn't buying all the crap. So we get to the moment where, like, when's dinner ready? And, you know, Wanda fixed dinner, it's out on the table, and he's like, oh, breakfast, oh, that's very, And then the wife's like, no, his wife's like, oh, that's very Sokovian or whatever, or oh, very foreign or something. She said something like that. But they sit down, they're eating, and right away the boss and the wife, the hearts say to Wanda and Vision, oh, when did you move here? Why did you move here? How long have you guys been married? And you could just tell they're struggling, and you could tell like Vision's looking for Wanda for those answers. And it's very getting heated, and then the wife, the boss's wife's like, oh, just give them a second. That's a hard thing. They're trying to put the story together, and he just wasn't buying it. He's like, it's such an easy question, answer, and he starts slamming his hand on the table, and things start to get tense. You feel like things are breaking down. You feel like something's going wrong, and you could just, the boss's wife's like, oh, stop it, and then he's like choking on like the breakfast thing, and you can just tell like something's wrong. It's like, and she's like stop it, laughing, and it turned to like a sad like stop it. It started getting crazy and weird. Like the tone very shifts into Dark Matters, which I love because again, this is all gonna lead into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man 3. So the dark elements we're really getting. That's pretty much a story in the comic book, on the comic books of the House of M, we're sort of getting that story, but in a different way. And we're really seeing it all build of, like, is she doing this to them, and she's not realizing it, and that they're somewhat breaking through of the spell that they're under, like, the neighbors and stuff, that maybe she's doing this, or maybe, I don't know, someone's doing this to Wanda and doing it to these people too, and I don't know, but there's just so much to break down here. And out of nowhere, the guy's on the ground choking, and again, his wife is like saying, stop it, sort of in a crying laughter way. And, Wanda, you could tell like it was almost like it was out of balance of sorts when she said, Vision, help him. So it's almost like it's like breaking that false reality, and it was like a weird echoey, like, help him. And he put phased his hand into it, I guess, his, like, throat, and got whatever out, the piece of food. And out of nowhere, it just, the formula, like, I guess, like, the program went back to normal. And they just said, okay, thank you for the dinner. Oh, you might, and that's what his wife said. And then he's like, oh, you might get that promotion after all. And then they just leave. It was just like, what the heck? Like, they forgot what just happened. So there's some programming here, something weird and fishy here, and it's just crazy, and it's so interesting, and just, it's so fun. And by the end of this, they're sitting on the couch, and she's like, oh, I think, we're, like, I think we're an odd couple, and he's like, oh, I never thought, people doubted that for a second, and it closes, but it goes to this TV screen, and it looks like into the real world, because it got, like, very long, like a movie screen. So it's like, I guess it's, like, in real time now, not in, like, the box, like, old, like, TV scheme anymore. So, like, someone was watching them, and it had like, a sword. So I'm thinking, I think that's an organization in the Marvel Comics. Sword is an organization. I believe so. And there was just so many mentions in the next episode of Strucker and a whole bunch of things. So, like, she's pulling things, I think, from her previous, like, journey she's been on through life. Like, what she knows, and it's coming into that world of her backstory, with Sokovia, and, we hear the name of Strucker, and, there's a lot of, like, things she's using as backstories that are really following through. I don't know if someone's making her use those as her backstories, or, again, I don't know what's going on, and I love that about this show. It's so interesting, it's so fun, it's just so great. And then in the next episode, we get more stuff. They hear, it's the same clip, it's the second clip I watched where they're in their beds, and they hear something, like, Wanda hears something outside, and she keeps turning on the lights. It stops, and then when she turns on the lights, it stops, whatever the noise is outside. She turns off the lights, and it starts again. She turns on the lights, and it stops again. And then Vision's like, are you turning on the lights, darling? And she's like, yeah. And then she's like, something is making a noise out there. He goes to check what it is, and he's like, I just see your rose bushes out there. And he goes, and then, he turns around to her, he hears a noise, goes into the bed, is scared. And she's like, oh, you need to check. And he's like, oh, you need to check out there. And she's like, you know what? Let's do it. And then she opens the curtain. It's just the branches hitting the glass. And she's like, okay, that's fine. We're all good. I think we handled that well. And then next thing you know, it's like he goes to work, is doing his thing. And, well, and they're, like, doing this, I guess, this neighborhood talent show. And they're doing a magic act. And they're getting ready for the magic act, and he, while they're getting ready for that, I guess he goes to some town hall meeting while Wanda goes to, I guess, this one girl that's ahead of, like, the committee of the talent show, I guess is ahead of all, like, the, I guess, events that happen around the town, and I guess if you get in with this girl, that shows that your kids can get into the best school. She's one of those, like, you know, those top, you know, dogs that, like, make committees, I guess, so her and the neighbor go there, and she's like, oh, you want to make a good impression, and they're talking about the talent shows and stuff, and you can really tell this girl's a big jerk, and Wanda can tell, and then we run into, I think it's, Beth, I think it's, like, Monica, like, you know, Captain Marvel's friend's daughter, but she's grown up now, and they're talking back and forth, her and Wanda, about just, oh, God, this girl's very serious, and she's like, yeah, you know, I tried just to stand still so she doesn't notice me. So you can even tell that, and then when she's asked her what her name was, she couldn't think, so something is wrong, because you can tell a lot of the people in the neighborhood, things are very sus, and, like, she couldn't even remember her name. And you find that a lot through the series. People can't remember their names, they don't know their backstories, and you can just tell that they know something is wrong. So Vision goes to the board meeting, and he's like, and he shows up, and the people are like, oh, you really have to be invited to one of these things, and he's like, oh, and he's like, oh, you guys talking about anything, you know, like, you know, security perimeters and stuff, all that, you know, like, security perimeters and, like, measures to protect the neighborhood? And he's like, no, like, and they're like, no, new measures, new rounds, meaning, like, new donuts coming in and stuff like that, and it's supposed to be a comedy, so they weren't talking about security at all, they were just eating donuts, chilling, and talking. So there was a moment where Vision said, oh, and like, oh, funny joke, that guy's a communist. And then they all started laughing, and they're all like, oh, we thought you were a square, Vision. He's like, no, I'm not square, I'm round. And they all started laughing and stuff, and living it up. And he's like, and then he's like, oh, do you guys want a donut? And he's like, I don't eat donut, I don't eat food. And he's like, oh, what I mean is I don't eat food between my meals. And he's like, oh, want a stick of gum? He's like, oh, and they're like, oh, is that considered food? And he's like, oh, no. He's like, he says something, and then he eats it. And then you see it getting, he's just chewing. He's like, because again, he doesn't eat food. And then the one guy hits him in the back. He swallows the gum. And it's like an old cartoon, how you see it go down and gets stuck in his gears. And then he starts acting all loopy and funny. And, you know, Wanda, while that's going on, Wanda is cleaning, like, got behind the cleanup after that meeting with that one girl that's mean. And, you know, she's putting things away, and then next thing you know, she hears something on the, like, I guess the one girl said, like, oh, like, Wanda's like, you know, I'm a good person, you know, I want to make a good impression, you know, you just know I'm a good person. And she's like, oh, of course, yeah, I doubt that or whatever. And then you just hear the radio that's there start to really, you hear someone's voice. It's like breaking through the barrier, and all you hear is Wanda, or like, can you read me? Are you okay? Like, you just hear those things. And it's the same guy that's in Ant-Man and the Wasp, the guy that's checking in on Scott if he's following the protocols of staying in the house. I forget his name, but it's that same dude's voice. And then next thing you know, it, like, the radio blows up, and the girl accidentally squeezes the glass, and Wanda's like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? And it's almost like she was breaking out of, like, oh my God, like, I know what your husband and you are capable of, to, oh my God, oh, I'm fine, I'll get the blood stain out myself with the rag and all that. It's just, at one moment they're breaking out of the spell, and then they're back in the neighborhood. It's crazy how why that's happening. So after that, Wanda's waiting, dressed up for the talent show with the magic act. Vision's nowhere to be found. She's like, oh my god, where is he? Where is he? And he starts stumbling in. You can totally tell the gum's messing with his gears, and he's not, his brain's not working totally, because he's like, and Wanda's like, where have you been? And he's like, oh, we were playing shoe horses, or horse, hooves, and he's like, oh, horseshoes, and then there's a horse that clops by, like someone in a horse costume. He's like, I played with his shoes earlier. And it was funny. I was dying when he said that. And, they do the magic act, but he's literally doesn't have a care in the world, not using his brain, so he's, like, flying, he's phasing stuff through him, and she has to figure out ways to be like, okay, we can't let them know, we have powers, so she's, like, making ropes for when he's flying, she's making mirrors for when he's doing the phasing thing, when he's picking up the piano or dresser, she makes, it's like a big cardboard cutout that looks like it's a thing, but when you turn it to the side, it's a cardboard cutout. So she's really trying to, like, make sure they don't find out anything. And by the end of it, she's like, okay, let's get out of here before they find out, we screwed up this whole event. They're sneaking off. They're like, wait, the girl's like, wait a second. And she's like, Wanda and Vision are like, oh, she's going to yell at us for screwing it up. She's like, that was the funniest thing, the coolest thing we've ever seen. They get a trophy for funniest act award. They go home. Next thing you know, earlier, like, before she even goes to the house to talk about the board meeting, she finds a helicopter. And you just hear a portal noise, meaning either a helicopter got into that portal, because we saw a portal from the trailers, like a red dome or a red wall. I'm thinking a helicopter flew in there and it had a sword on it again, and I'm thinking it was an actual helicopter, but turned into a toy, and it was in red, it was in color, and remember, they're in a time where there's no color, because it's like an older show, so there's no color. So their helicopter flies in, it's like a toy helicopter, and it's red, and it has a sword on it, meaning it was a big helicopter, flew in there, and it became a toy. That's insane. That's what the heck. So there must have been people in there that are just dead now in that helicopter, is what I'm assuming. So that's just crazy about that. So back to whatever, they go home with their award, and they're like, oh, another day of work or whatever. And Wanda turns around, and she's pregnant now. And then she says to Vision, is this really happening? They hear something. Vision goes outside, and Wanda follows, and they see a sewer grate move over. And it's very, like, scary music. Like, you can really feel it's, like, heart-pounding, wrenching music. And you see a guy that's in, like, a beekeeper suit, come up from above, and you hear bees. And it's just a black face, and she's like, oh, no. And then she rewinds it to that same point where they're in the living room, and she's pregnant, and she's like, is this really, she's like, she doesn't say, is this really happening? She just kisses him, and then it ends. She totally avoids going outside. She, like, rewrites it. And then it just ends, and then we just see pretty much, we just hear Wanda, and then it just ends after that. So there's so much I want to know that maybe I've missed that I can't wait to see in people's, like, breakdowns of the first 2 episodes. I want to know in the comments down below, like, what did you like about this episode? These episodes of episode 1 and episode 2, what do you like the season in general so far? What series are you looking most forward to of the Disney Plus series that are coming out? And also, what theories do you guys have about what you've seen, or maybe what I've missed and I didn't mention? What did you guys see? I really want to know down in the comments below. Again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, and leave and also leave a comment down below and like this video, because that all lets me know that you guys love my content and you guys want to stick around on my journey of what I'm trying to do here. Is I'm trying to build an awesome community, a family of people that can motivate one another and people that could just follow their dreams. Because, a little bit of my backstory for people that don't know is that, I spent my entire life surrounding myself with people that I thought believed in my dreams, and thought that were my friends, but I found out last year that they weren't my friends. They didn't believe in my dreams, and pretty much I dropped them. I found people that do believe in my dreams and do believe in my passion, and that make me want to be a better person, and also make me just want to strive to go above and beyond. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. That's why I'm here. If I can make someone's day a little bit brighter, I really want to do that. So I really enjoy what I do for you guys. But I'm going to end this off right here. So again, I'm going to end it off saying, I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.